Lots to talk about. Interesting little skit on Saturday Night Live Saturday night to open up the program. Had some people saying bit too soon. Had some people saying it was offensive. Anybody who looks at SNL and goes, that's offensive, shut up. I thought it was funny. I thought it was right. I thought it's the feel of the country right now because there's a lot of people, me included, going, hey, there's a guy who's now going to be president who has told me he's coming after me. Retribution. There will be retribution. And I don't doubt him. Look, I take him in his word. Here's a guy who clearly thin-skinned enough to go and do some overreach like that. And look, that's the reality. These are folks who are going to overreach in an enormous way. And it's going to be incumbent on us, we, the rest of the people who didn't vote for him, the people who don't want this kind of chaos that we're going to see. It's incumbent on us to be the ones who show up, the ones who witness, if you will, because bad stuff's going to happen. The solutions, however, are going to be in the suffering. The solutions are going to be in the savagery. And I know it sounds horrible, but the reality for me is nothing seems to happen until bad stuff happens that shock us to our core and tell us who these people are. Look, we know who Donald Trump is. His supporters don't. He is going to overreach because he believes he's got a mandate. He believes I'm the man. I won. And it's my turn to exact revenge. Now, look, he didn't grow any new voters. Democrats beat themselves. And what's interesting is I'm watching the left eat itself. I'm on a bunch of these email lists and a bunch of groups that I pay attention to what's being said. I'm on some right wing groups as well, just because I want to know what people are talking about, want to engage in some back and forth, some discourse, if you will. And right now, the Democrats are playing the blame game. Each little subdivision is eating and attacking the other subdivision who's going after a different one. Because what Democrats have done really well is they've organized themselves into cute little groups. And I've got my silo and my title and my issue. And, well, it's the other guy. What is interesting, however, is they all hate the white guy. And I don't know why that is. Okay. We could say, the white guys have done a lot of stuff. I'm not that guy. So when I hear one group eating another, I go, maybe we don't do this because this is why we lose. I mean, steal a line from Jeff Daniels in the TV show Newsroom. It's why the left loses so effing always is because they circular firing squads, man. And why the right has a massive megaphone that they've invested in for decades. So right now, what all of the groups, while they're not eating each other, actually do get right is that Democrats, the left, labor, whatever you want to say, that coalition is, they haven't built their own messaging machine. There's nothing. The reality is when I'm at the top of the left leaning media programs in the country, and look, I do this as my passion, hobby, part-time job from a shed in my backyard. There's a problem. There's a problem with infrastructure. And when the messaging that we talk about in this program doesn't get heard by the audience that you hear on the right, you wonder why we lose the messaging war. Perfect example. Had a conversation with my red hat friend who said there are litter boxes in every classroom. And I said, yeah, there are. There are litter boxes in a lot of my kids' classrooms, especially when they were younger. He said, see, I go, well, it's not the reason that you think it is. You think it's, people dressing up as cats and wanting to use a litter box. That's ludicrous. That doesn't happen. I know you've told yourself, you've tied yourself into knots for that, but that's not the reality. The reality is those buckets of kitty litter are there in case there's a school shooting and little kids need somewhere to go to the bathroom. The bucket acts as a portable toilet. That's why they're there. Not because there's anyone doing this. I mean, they believe that this is the other one. They believe that my kid can go to school and get gender reassignment surgery. They've been told this repeatedly. They could go and get, without you knowing, because Donald Trump said it. They go to school, a couple days later, they come home, all their plumbing's mixed up. And I'm going, are you kidding me? I can't even get to school to give my kid a freaking aspirin, let alone any of that stuff. Where do you hear this stuff? And it's the misinformation megaphone on the right that's been doing this. So finally, you get some folks going, maybe, I don't know, maybe we should be doing this. And someone like me who's been screaming about this for at least the last quarter of a century, going, this is what we need to be building. You need to compete with the message. You need to talk to people. Everyone now gets that. We should do something. Yeah, for the last quarter of a century, I've been begging. Now, do I think it's going to happen this time? No, because that would actually take work, and evidently that's not something we really want to get involved in. That's going to take investment. And, oh, we can't do that because that's actually going to take some labor to do, especially for the power brokers, because then we can't control you. And of course, you don't want to control me. You want me out there fighting for the working class of this country, organizing working people, white, black, brown, it doesn't matter. People who go to work and fight and claw just to make it a day's labor. Those are the people we need to be fighting back for on the left in the Democratic circles because you've lost them because you haven't been talking to them. The right's been talking to them all the time. And they've created a narrative that you are the enemy. And until we figure out how to get better messaging out to them, you can have the greatest message of the world. Nobody hears it, doesn't matter. We got work to do.